In any organization, managing user access to resources can quickly become overwhelming if you handle each user individually. Active Directory, or AD, offers a solution through the use of groups. By collecting users, computers, and even other groups together, you can assign permissions and policies in bulk. This not only saves time but also ensures consistency and security across your environment. Imagine having to grant access to a shared folder for dozens of employees one by one. Groups make this process much more efficient and manageable. Active Directory groups are fundamental building blocks for organizing users and resources. Instead of assigning permissions to each user separately, you assign them to a group. This approach streamlines administration, reduces errors, and makes it easier to update permissions as roles change. Whether you're managing access to files, folders, printers, or applications, groups are your go-to tool for efficient permission management. Let's dive into how these groups are classified and used within AD. In Active Directory, groups are classified in two main ways, by type and by scope. Group type defines what the group is used for, such as security or email distribution. Group scope, on the other hand, determines where the group can be applied within the AD environment. Understanding both classifications is essential for designing an effective permission structure that meets your organization's needs. Let's start with group types. There are two main types of groups in Active Directory: security groups and distribution groups. Each serves a distinct purpose. Security groups are used to assign permissions to resources, while distribution groups are used solely for email distribution lists. Knowing the difference helps you choose the right group for your specific needs. Security groups are the backbone of permission management in AD. When you want to control access to files, folders, printers, or other resources, you use security groups. Members of these groups automatically inherit the permissions assigned to the group. For example, if you create a group called HR Folder Access and assign it permissions to the HR shared folder, every member of that group will have access. This makes it easy to manage who can do what within your organization. Distribution groups serve a different purpose. They are used exclusively for email distribution lists. If you need to send an email to a large group of people at once, a distribution group is the way to go. However, these groups cannot be used to assign permissions to resources. For instance, you might have a group called All Managers Email to quickly send announcements to all managers. Remember, distribution groups are about communication, not security. In real-world scenarios, administrators rely heavily on security groups. They provide a flexible and scalable way to manage access to resources. By grouping users based on department, role, or project, you can quickly update permissions as people join or leave the organization. This approach not only enhances security but also simplifies ongoing administration. Now let's talk about group scopes. Scope defines how far a group's permissions can reach within the Active Directory environment. There are three main scopes: domain, local, global, and universal. Each scope has unique characteristics that determine where the group can be used and who can be a member. Understanding these scopes is crucial for designing a secure and efficient AD structure. Domain local groups are designed to assign permissions to resources within a specific domain. Their membership can include users, computers, and groups from any domain in the forest, as well as from trusted external domains. However, the permissions assigned to a domain local group can only be applied to resources in the domain where the group exists. This makes them ideal for managing access to resources that are domain-specific. Imagine you have a file server in. You create a domain local group in domain A and grant it NTFS permissions, such as modify on a shared folder. You can then add members from domain A, domain B, or even trusted external domains. The key point is that the permissions only apply to resources within domain A. Think of domain local groups as being local to their domain's resources, but open to members from anywhere. Global groups are used to group users with similar roles or functions within the same domain. Their membership can include users, computers, and other global groups, but only from the same domain. However, you can assign permissions to resources in any domain in the forest. This makes global groups perfect for organizing users by department or job function, and then granting them access to resources across the organization. Suppose you have all sales users in. You put them in a global group named GG Sales Users. Then you can add that global group to a domain local group in domain B that controls access to shared folders. This setup allows you to manage user roles centrally while granting access to resources in other domains. It's an efficient way to handle permissions for users who need to collaborate across domains. Universal groups are designed for multi-domain environments. They allow you to group users, computers, and other groups from any domain in the forest. Permissions assigned to a universal group can be applied to resources in any domain, making them ideal for forest-wide access control. This is especially useful in large organizations with complex structures. Let's say you have users from domain A, domain B, and domain C who all need access to corporate intranet resources. You can place them in a universal group called UG Intranet Users and assign permissions once for all. This group spans the entire forest, making it easy to manage access for users across multiple domains with a single configuration. To recap, domain local groups are best for assigning permissions within a single domain. Global groups are ideal for grouping users by role within a domain but granting access across domains, and universal groups are perfect for forest-wide access. Choosing the right scope ensures your permissions are both secure and flexible. Membership rules differ for each group scope. Domain local groups can have members from any domain or trusted external domains. Global groups can only have members from the same domain. Universal groups can include members from any domain in the forest. Understanding these rules helps you design groups that fit your organization's structure and security requirements. By using groups, you can assign permissions to resources in a way that's both efficient and scalable. Instead of managing individual user permissions, you simply add or remove users from groups as needed. This approach reduces administrative overhead and minimizes the risk of errors, ensuring that only the right people have access to sensitive resources. When managing groups in Active Directory, it's important to follow best practices. Use clear and consistent naming conventions, regularly review group memberships, and avoid granting excessive permissions. Organize groups based on roles and functions, and document your group structure to make future administration easier. These practices help maintain a secure and organized AD environment. A popular design pattern in AD is the AGDLP model. Accounts go into global groups, which are members of domain local groups, which are then assigned permissions. This model helps you separate user roles from resource permissions, making it easier to manage changes and audits. It's a proven approach for scalable and secure group management. Sometimes group permissions don't work as expected. Common issues include incorrect group scope, misconfigured memberships, or overlapping permissions. To troubleshoot, check the group's type and scope, review its members, and verify the permissions assigned. Keeping your group structure organized and well-documented makes it easier to identify and resolve problems quickly. Active Directory groups are essential for efficient and secure permission management. By understanding group types and scopes, you can design a structure that fits your organization's needs. Remember to use security groups for permissions, distribution groups for email, and choose the right scope for your scenario. Following best practices ensures your AD environment remains organized, secure, and easy to manage as your organization grows.